Yo, what's up, guys? I'm Sentiment, and today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite characters within the Bleach anime, slash, in my opinion, the very best characters in the Bleach anime. This was interesting and different for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you've seen my ranking videos in the past relating to Bleach, you know that I typically rank characters and or weapons by number. The thing is, that method seems to be useless to do in this case because Bleach has such a wide variety of good characters that the positionings often shift in my mind when it comes to my favorite, second favorite, etc., much more than, my favorite captains or anything like that. As a result, I thought it'd be a little bit easier and more accurate to pool together some of my favorite Bleach characters and talk about them in no specific order and give my general thoughts on them. Initially, I was going to have like 8 characters to talk about, but since I'm getting rid of the official ranking system, I thought it'd be cool to just talk about 4 characters and a few later in a potential second vid and toy around with making this a series since there's just so many characters to talk about. So, without further ado, let's talk about 4 of some of the best characters in Bleach in no particular order. Starting with Ulquiorra. I recently put out a video on this guy, and if you're interested, that will be up in the corner, so I'll keep it brief. Ulquiorra is a fantastic character with an excellent design and great dialogue. In the video I recently made, I discussed my interpretations of certain character features such as his teardrop markings and the bleeding hollow hole he seems to have in his second release. I didn't go too in-depth on his character arc, but to briefly discuss that here, I think that the persistence of the human spirit, as well as the concept of hope ultimately beating out the physical manifestation of nihilism, is a nice message. It's not too complex or anything like that, and at the end of the day, Ulquiorra was just fascinated by how fiercely people would fight to save those that they love, but it was executed in a nice way, and I can't help but appreciate it. Unfortunately, I can't say too much that the community hasn't already said about Ulquiorra, so I will move on to another character that I'm kinda excited to talk about for the first time on the channel. Next up is Sosuke Aizen. I am not the largest Aizen fan in the world. I know that makes me a bit weird in the Bleach community, but I will admit that there was a lot of draw to his character. The coolest aspect about Aizen, in my opinion, is his status as a gifted Shinigami and how it affected his mental state and goals. From what I know, Aizen grew up to be extremely talented in all aspects of a Shinigami. Interestingly, though, being stronger and more gifted than those around him led him to feel a tremendous amount of isolation growing up. Simultaneously, however, his enhanced intellect led him to feel tremendous amounts of superiority over almost all those he encountered. From these feelings of superiority grew overconfidence, a sense of sadism, and his iconic god complex. All this going on top, while underneath the surface he suffered from intense loneliness and a deep desire to be bested in combat, a foreign and dare I say inconceivable concept to him, and something far beyond the capabilities of the Shinigami that surrounded him. Aizen's transcendent strength, complemented by deep inner turmoil and a relatively average appearance, is why he is one of my favorite characters in Bleach, and I can't really say I have too many complaints about him as a character. But similar to Ulquiorra, his fans are kind of the annoying part. If Ulquiorra fans are a 3 out of 10 in terms of intensity, Aizen fans are a 10,768, and I'm not even kidding. I enjoy his character a lot, and I think his naturally enormous amount of Reiatsu is super cool, but his fans can be extremely annoying. Now, I'm not talking about all of them, obviously. I'm just talking about the small group of Aizen fans that behave this way. But due to their love of this character, they seem to need to have him to be as dominant as humanly possible. In doing so, they kind of throw out any nuance that comes with his inner conflict and portray him as this perfect being, and it's very, very annoying to interact with. I know a decent chunk of people in the Bleach community love Aizen, so I'm risking being disliked here, but this is my small platform, and I'll say what I want. My lord, I have not seen a character have his sucked harder in so long. Initially, I went on a pretty long rant about Aizen fans, but I cut it down as to not be as melodramatic, but hopefully you guys get it. Aizen, very cool character. His fans could use some work. Next up, we have Shunsui. There's a lot of interesting and different components that make up Shunsui. that are blended in a really subtle yet realistic manner. These different components combine to effectively portray the idea that this is a man with an individual and troubled past who has a variety of moral beliefs shaped by his various life experiences, similar to how most people are in real life. And I feel like the various aspects of his personality and the variety of ways you can perceive him make him one of the best examples of a relatively realistic and down to earth character in Bleach. He has defining characteristics, yes, but they aren't as blatant or prominent as, say, Ichigo's strong desire to protect his friends, Yamamoto's stubbornness, Kenpachi's aggression, or anything like that. This is just my opinion, but compared to those characters, Shunsui feels more like a man who organically was exposed to and grew through unfortunate circumstances, rather than having those instances manually written into who he is. When you look at his issues with women, the stress put on him from bearing the responsibility of numerous deceased loved ones, his tendency to fight unfairly, his laziness and laid-back personality, you arrive at a lot of twists and turns that carry the weight and complexity of the human experience. I think what Kubo did with Shunsui was extremely cool. How he was able to create an individual personality, but not have it be too overbearing in his various character aspects, which is something that you'll encounter with Bleach characters such as Ichigo, Kenpachi, etc., who have stronger, dare I say, more basic templates. All of them are super cool characters, but Shunsui is cool as well. Finally, wrapping up, we have Shuhei Hisagi. I really like Shuhei's character design, and typically, as a result of that, I would say he was a wasted character. He's not this super duper powerful captain class war power Shinigami with some huge big cinematic bankai where he like turns into the Grim Reaper and steals souls, as his appearance might lead you to believe. Shuhei is a man that, despite his intimidating appearance, is not the strongest or even close to being the strongest, nor is he an incredibly violent man. Despite what you see, Shuhei is a man that fears violence, and as time has gone on, I've been able to appreciate the beauty in that. It's such a simple lesson about not letting appearances define you, and I appreciate that it pushes the idea that even the most intimidating looking people on the outside have their own inner fears and turmoil. It's a really nice idea for a character, in my opinion, and it's partially why I think he is one of the best characters in Bleach, along with the rest of the people that I've talked about. That concludes the list. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, this was no particular order. Unlike most of my other videos where I rank the best in a specific category, there's just too many characters for me to pick from. So I figured, why not just pull together some and just, talk about them. I'm thinking of doing at least one more of these because I'd like to cover a plethora of other characters. But until then, I'm Sentiment. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do, and you're interested in seeing more Bleach content and anime content from me, like and subscribe. If not, that's okay as well. But yeah, I'm Sentiment, and I suppose that is my cue.